Morning, sixth graders. This is Mrs. Cooper here. So we are going to do some review before we take our quick check number 4. So you need your math notebook out, copy down these problems, and you should also have out your foldable for chapter 2 copy to help us solve these problems. So pause the video, get out those necessary materials, and we will continue. So number 1 says write 8/100ths as a fraction in simplest form and a percent. So I'm going to use my foldable, and I'm going to go decimal to fraction. Right here it is. Write the number as a fraction with a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000, then simplify. Okay, so I already read it how I read it, and that was 8/100ths. Now I have to simplify, and a lot of you are forgetting to simplify on your warm-ups for that quiz. Make sure you simplify by dividing by a common factor. And I know I could divide by 2 because they're both even. I could also divide by 4, but I'll divide by 2 to start. And that gives me 4/50ths. Now they're still both even, so I have to divide by 2 again. And that will give me 2/25ths. So as a fraction in simplest form, I have 2/25ths. And now I need to write that as a percent. So I'm going to go decimal 2% in my foldable. Decimal 2%. Move the decimal 2 places to the right. Okay, I'm going to rewrite it over here. 1, 2. That would be 8%. Notice I didn't say 80. If it would be 80%, it'd be 0.80 or 0.8. Okay, so there's number 1 to help us review for our quick check. Number 2 says write 6% as a decimal and fraction in simplest form. So percent to decimal. I'm looking at my foldable. Percent to decimal. Move the decimal 2 spots to the left. Okay, well, let's rewrite it here. 6%. The percent, like Mr. Jordan said, the decimal is imaginary. So we move it 2 spots to the left. 1, 2. It's behind the number. Now it's 2 to the left. What goes in my empty spot here? A 0. So the decimal equivalent to 6% is 6/100ths. And then percent to fraction is put the number over 100, drop the percent sign, and simplify. And there's an example. So this is 6. Put it over 100 because that's how much a percent is out of, and simplify. Again, they're both even, so I'm going to divide by 2. That gives me 3/50ths. So 6% as a decimal is 6/100ths. As a simplified fraction is 3/50ths. So get that written down. Okay, now number 3 has a few different problems we're going to do. It says choose the correct inequality sign. So these are inequality signs: less than, greater than, and equal to. These should be in your notebook already from the videos we've watched recently. Now, whenever I'm comparing, I want to get them to be the same form. So I've got a fraction and I've got a decimal. This problem should look familiar to you from Tuesday's lesson. 2/3 is not a friendly number. So that means I could use a calculator to change it to a decimal. I would do 2 divided by 3, and that would equal 0.66, and it goes on forever. Now, some of your calculators will round at the end because it has a 7, but it really is 6 forever, and that's shown with a line on top. We call that a repeten. And now I'm comparing this decimal to 0.6, but I can't compare them until they're the same length, meaning they have to have the same amount of digits after the decimal point. This one has 2, this one only has 1. So what do I add behind the 6? A 0. Now I can compare them. 66/100ths compared to 60/100ths. And we read it left to right. So this one is greater than, just by a little, 60/100ths. Another problem you probably remember from Tuesday's lesson is 7% compared to 7/10ths. Change them both to be the same form. You can change them both to be percents, decimals, fractions, whatever you want. I'm going to say let's change them both to be decimals because I want to show you guys something. So percent to decimal, we've already looked in the foldable. We move it twice to the left. So this would be 0.07. And then how do you write 7/10 as a decimal? 0.7. The tenths is the first decimal place. Again, this has two digits long. This one only has one. So I have to add a 0 behind it. Are they equal? A lot of you put equal on your assignment from Tuesday. They are not equal. This one is 7/100. This is 70/100. So 7/100 is less than 70/100. And then we have two fractions here. I'm comparing. I want to get them to have the same denominator. 3 and 12. What's a common multiple they both share? Some of you maybe said 3. Well, that's a common factor, not a multiple. Count by 3s and count by 12s. The first one they share is what we want to use, and that would be 12. So I got to times 3 by something to get 12. Well, 3 goes into 12 4 times, and whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. Now I can compare 6/12 compared to 4/12. Well, 6/12, 6 is greater than 4, so 6/12 is greater than 4/12. Again, you can use these notes to help you on the quick check you're going to take here soon. And the last problem we're going to do together is number 4. Whoa, moving on me here. Order from least to greatest. So we have a bunch of fractions here. What I would suggest doing... Alrighty, sorry guys, I had to step away from my video for a second. I think I said we wanted to change them all to be decimals, because we can't change them all to have the same denominator without a lot of work. So let's change them all to be decimals. I'm going to use a calculator. You might want to grab your calculator as well, because you can use that on the quick check here in a little bit too. So 5/9, I'm going to write that as a decimal. So I'm going to do the numerator divided by denominator, and it gives me 0.55555, and it goes on forever. So I'm just going to write down 2 decimal places, put a line over it. 13/18. 13 divided by 18. 0.72, and the 2 repeats. So the line goes over just the 2. Then 6/7. This one's going to be a long decimal. I'm just going to write down the first 2 decimal places. 0.85 or 0.86. The 7 next door tells the 5 to round up, so it should be 86/100. And 1/3, some of you maybe know what that is as a decimal. This one also repeats. It's 0.33333333. It goes on forever. So 0.33 with a line over it. So now I can put them in order from least to greatest. They're all 2 decimal places, so I don't have to add any zeros. My smallest would be 1/3. Next, I could put 5/9. Then I could put 13/18 and 6/7. Notice I have rewrote the original number, the original fraction I started with, not the decimal. So you want to rewrite the original number, whether it was a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. Okay, guys, so you're going to take your quick check on Schoology here. You can use these notes. You can use your foldable. You can use your calculator. Make sure you are taking your time and putting in good effort. If you want to retake it, rewatch this video first, and then you can retake it this weekend. Good luck.